Scientists have created menstrual pads and cups that solidify blood by using a powder mixture. That's great!
What made you start Menstrual Health Company?
I wanted to find a better menstrual product for myself. I tried everything on the market, cups, tampons, period underwear, and I fell in love with the menstrual cup.
And what are the benefits of using blood coagulation pad, especially compared to other options available in the market?
Yeah, so one, if you want to go entirely plastic free, it's a better performing product than natural fiber pads. Even with plastic based super absorbents, if you compare it, it performs better because you're literally like drying out the blood. You're literally solidifying it. So it's super dry.
I have been using pads, but I did give it a try for menstrual cup as well. So I think I will stick around both, Hi everyone, welcome to Femtech India podcast where we discuss femtech and women's health. I'm so excited to welcome my today's guest, Shagun Maheshwari, who is the founder and CEO of Papaya. Papaya is a menstrual health company based out of India, Mumbai. Papaya announces world's first blood coagulating menstrual pad made in India. Hi Shagun, how are you doing today?
Asking Navneet, how are you?
Very well, thank you so much. I really wish we could have done this in person.
Yes, me too. But hopefully next time I can't wait to be in India. November is when I'm visiting.
Yeah, for sure. Maybe we can show your product as well. Yeah, looking forward to. I would love to know a little more about you and what made you start Menstrual Health Company.
So, I'm a mechanical engineer. I have been obsessed with sustainability and menstruation for as long as I can remember. And I wanted to find a better menstrual product for myself. I tried everything on the market, cups, tampons, period underwear, and I fell in love with the menstrual cup. I told everyone in my friend circle, family circle, that you need to try this, it'll change your life. But what I realized was it's been 10 years now. I could not convince a lot of people, no one actually. And even the people I could convince to try it, it necessarily didn't work for them. Like they landed up switching to other products eventually. And so I realized that the choice of a cup is a deeply personal one. If it works for you, great, and use it. But if it doesn't, people end up looking for other things. And the most commonly used product is still pads.
Right.
And they're everywhere. They're not going anywhere anytime soon, and they need to be better. So that's why I started working on a pad.
And I think, what do you think that also in India, the menstrual pad industry is so crowded, like there's so many products out there in the market, and what makes your product stand out?
So it's been great that we have like customers have that much variety. I think that's always nice, and people have been coming up with very nice natural fiber based pads or cotton top sheet, like more comfortable pad varieties. And this is a much needed conversation topic as well.
Right.
But what I see is most pads on the market are absorbance based. Almost all of them are absorbance based, and what this means is like people, even if they want to try to make a sustainable product and they want to go away from plastic, they still try to absorb menstrual fluid, comparing with plastic. And plastic is really good, that's why it's everywhere.
Right.
And comparing, like, just trying to compete with plastic is difficult. And so to make a lot of the times the natural fiber pads can't work for very heavy flow, and they don't perform as well. And so people start still switching back to a plastic one. And in order to fix this, I realized that we need to look elsewhere other than just absorbency. And so that's where like solidifying or coagulation of blood comes in the picture. And once I realized we could coagulate blood in a pad, it completely changes the conversation. We are no longer competing with plastic, and we can make a much more functional and better pad without plastics and make it fully compostable. Recently, a Virginia Tech study came out talking about how great blood coagulation can be for menstrual products. And I think it's great that people are finally like talking about it and it's
Right.
out there. But let me get back to the question about what is blood coagulation.
Okay, let me take a
You know, when
pause
you get-
actually. That's such a big thing. This product is made in India and you're the first one to do
Yes.
so. Isn't that amazing?
I think that's incredibly cool. And
Yeah.
yeah, and the like reading the study just validated us
Yeah.
so much more. And we were super excited. Basically, you get a cut or a scrape, and you get a scab. If
Right.
it bleeds, you get a scab after some time. That's your body's natural way to stop bleeding. But menstrual blood is different from regular body blood, and it doesn't solidify or do that as easily as other body blood. And that's why, like, but you can make it solidify if you just give it a little bit of a nudge. And that's what we are doing in the pad now. How to coagulate is not new. We've known it,
Right.
and people use it in bandages and other surgical procedures, like other applications. But what is new is, how do you make it comfortable in a pad? You don't want to feel like you're sitting on a biscuit, like something hard and, crispy, for lack of a better word. You want it soft and comfortable, and you want it away from your body. So doing that in a pad is what we've figured out.
No, that's amazing. And what are the benefits of using blood coagulation pad, especially compared to other options available in the market?
Yeah, so one, if you want to go entirely plastic free, it's a better performing product than natural fiber pads. Even with plastic based super absorbents, if you compare it, it performs better because you're literally like drying out the blood. You're literally solidifying it. So it's super, super
Right.
dry. And what we've seen as user feedback is, a lot of people say that they can use the pads for longer. This was unintentional. We didn't
Okay.
go into trying to do this, but I think what's happening is it's psychological a little bit, also like comfort wise, like because it's so dry, you don't feel as icky.
Got it. And
And
when you
so
say
people end up,
long, for how long? Like if we have to compare with the regular product.
yeah, so this is a difficult thing to measure, which is why we can't really do this. It's just a, people tell me feedback, oh, I could wear your pad for longer. And it's like, wait, are you wearing it for, 6 hours tops? Don't wear it for longer, because that's not recommended in general for pads.
Right, yeah.
But they're like, no, longer based on, we've had people who want it for longer, but longer based on whatever they were wearing before. So just like to like, they feel like they need to change like less frequently. This is just people's feedback, and it is an unintended consequence. I think it's happening that way because it's drier, and so it doesn't feel as icky. Like, when you're sitting on a absorbed, like, you imagine your pad is like a sponge, right? It's absorbing the blood. And if you sit on a sponge, it will like the liquid will seep out a little bit again. So that liquidy feeling, the little bit of ickiness that you feel that builds up the more blood you have, that won't happen in a coagulating pad, because you're literally solidifying it. There is
Right.
no way for that to happen.
So that also means that you don't get rashes.
So we because we don't have plastics, the biocoagulant we use is also antimicrobial. We can combat rashes, but rashes are a super complicated phenomena in general. We
Right.
have tested the pad for the most common bacteria that cause various like rashes or toxic shock and stuff like that, and we are antimicrobial towards them. But we all we can say is we combat rashes. We make it a comfortable experience. I don't think anybody can really promise you a entirely rash free experience, because there's a
Right.
lot more complex biochemistry happening in your body.
What are your unique features in terms of product? Where is it manufactured? Is there any science behind it? If you can just touch upon that a little more.
Yeah, sure. So the coagulating itself is a unique feature. It makes a drier experience, ick-free experience. The coagulant is also antimicrobial, non-toxic. We're entirely plastic-free, and we're fully compostable, even in landfill environments.
Okay.
And I can get into that a little bit later, but let me answer the rest of your question. We are all locally, well, made in India, all of it, even the coagulant, even the various other parts of the pad. But the most important thing here is that where regular pads use super absorbent polymers, which are all plastic, we replace that entirely with our biocoagulating layer, and we manage to get the blood away from the body and keep the like the solidified blood soft for the user. That's basically the thing. Now, um, the science behind it, people have known how to coagulate things like blood
Right.
for a very long time. They've used it in surgical dressings, in bandages. It exists, and so it a lot of these materials already have known biocompatibility. They're known non-toxic. These things are very well studied and documented. So it was just a matter of finding that and then figuring out, like, packaging it in a pad so that it's usable. So we're not inventing science, we're just finding a different use case for that science.
I've also done my last episode on period cups, right? And where of course there's a lot of talk about period cups and they are sustainable, good for environment, very price friendly, you'll save a lot of money. And then why should someone switch to pads? Like why pads?
Oh, if cups are working for you, good, use them. It's great. We are not here to try to change people's, habits on something that works for them and they love.
Right.
If they're not working for you, come to us because you will love it. That's all I want to say. Yeah.
I have been using pads, but I did give a try for menstrual cup as well. So I think I will stick around both, like you have an option to use whichever the product you want and based on your requirement. And I'm glad we have options now. Like there's so much innovation happening that we can try and experiment different things, right? But tell me more on, about how do papaya pads impact the environment, especially, we all know that lot of menstrual products they end up in landfill.
Yeah. So basically, our pads are compostable, but the biggest, I guess, argument for compostable plastics or compostable products in general is that, oh, it needs very specific conditions to compost. And we know that, and we know this. So we wanted to make sure that we design for real life. In real life, the most obvious scenario is that the pad is going to land up in a landfill. So how do we make sure that there it is still sustainable and not harming the environment?
Right.
So the difference between a landfill scenario and a proper composting facility is that landfill means sub ऐसे like everything is just buried. So things don't have access to oxygen in the environment. And so it's difficult for even vegetables to compose properly. But our pad does degrade in these settings. We are
Right.
deliberately testing it with the landfill environment, like inhibited oxygen conditions, and seeing how does it degrade. And we've seen, like, to date, in 150 days, we're already showing 77% degradation, which is really cool.
Mm-hmm.
And because there's no plastics in, there's no microplastics coming out.
Right.
So it's so we were aware, like, the whole point was it shouldn't just be compostable with an asterisk ki only in specific conditions. It should be not harmful no matter where it goes.
No, absolutely. And also like we did discuss about, rashes and how does your product ensure comfort and dryness?
Yeah, so I think the coagulation does the main heavy lifting.
Yeah.
By solidifying blood, we are literally making it dry. Like, what is more dry than a solid? And rashes are caused by many, many things. If you're just sitting in very moist conditions, which pads often can lead to, it can cause a rash. If something in the chemical makeup doesn't agree with you, it can cause a rash. Sometimes rashes are just secondary, right? You ate, like like fungal infections. They happen for a variety of other reasons as well. Like, all of those could just coincide, and you're just unlucky. Like, on your
Right.
period, everything is happening to you together. So we can't account for all of them, but there are certain things we can account for. We can make you feel super dry. We can make sure that there is no chlorine, there's no bleach, there's no, like, irritants on the pad that could lead to potential skin irritation and then a rash. And that's what we do. And we've tested our pad with the main, like, bacteria, like Staphylococcus aureus, which is the main toxic shock bacteria. And we've tested it for fungal growth as well. And it has passed both in terms of antimicrobial activity.
Right. And do you have like what's the feedback from your users? Do you have any case studies you can share with us?
Yeah, so feedback has been fairly interesting. Most users, like, most people have loved the pad. We have had a few like feedback, mostly like, when are you making an overnight pad, because our current one is a day use one, and when are you making for really heavy flow, which we're getting to. Actually, our next product is going to be for a very heavy flow pad. And that's been most of the feedback. But the good, like, what people have liked is that the non ickiness, it
Right.
doesn't feel like you're wearing, like, a lot of people have come out and told us ki it feels like I'm not wearing a pad. And this, I think, is the highest compliment we could have gotten as a pad company, because that, I think, is the biggest pain point. The constant feel ki, you're wearing something like a diaper or a thing around
Right.
your sensitive areas, and just, yeah. So that, I think, is the highlight of my day. And the non-ickiness. And because of the non-ickiness, a lot of people have said that they can wear it for longer. And we always advise, don't wear it for more than 6 to 8 hours at a time.
Yeah.
But it's good feedback to get, and it's very difficult to measure this length of use. So it's only something we'll be able to get from people's feedback, like what we're using before, and how many pads do you get through now.
Right. And how many sizes do you have currently?
Right now we have one, but in a couple of months we're going to have three.
Okay. And
So
that
right
is
now we have the
regular
day use
size.
size, which is the large, actually, the
Okay.
280 millimeters, which is the large size. But we don't have an overnight one yet. So that's going to be the next. And we're also going to be making panty liners. So we're going to have
Oh,
three sizes.
amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And where are your products? One is it's available on your website. Is it also
It's on
available
our
globally or global markets?
So it's available on our websites, on Amazon, Brown Living, Vanity Bag, and all of these. But we are also getting FDA registered.
Oh
So
my
we will
God.
be yeah,
Yeah,
we
that's
will
great
be
news.
available.
Yeah.
I know, I'm super excited. I can't wait. And you're literally the first person I'm telling outside the company that
Wow,
we
that's
are doing
great.
it.
And that's also on the podcast.
Yeah. But yeah, it's not really a secret. We're getting FDA registered, and I'm hoping that that enables us to go global. India is still our first and like our market that we're focusing on the most.
Right.
Um,
So, like you're, of course, Indian-based company, and we know that in rural India, many women don't have access to basic hygiene products, right? Do you envision to do some impactful work in coming years as like your company grows? And would love to know a little more that because I think when I talk about female health, I always look at how companies are trying to make impact where women don't have access. The one is where women have access, which is tier 1 2 cities, but of course it goes beyond that. How can we make impact and really serve communities which are underrepresented, and they really lack access to basic knowledge, basic products?
yes, absolutely. It's part of our plan, definitely, as we grow. We want to have the social impact, giving back to the community, and seeing, nonprofits we could collaborate with and partner with, and how we can actually give back in a meaningful way. We haven't started it quite yet because we're very, very small.
Right.
But we're hoping that in the next couple of months, we can start thinking about what this impact would look like.
And how has been your experience, of course, been working in this space? Like, of course, there are so many consumer brand market is huge in India, right? And especially menstrual health category. Like, even when we were doing our this first study on women's health landscape and consumer brands, and what we realized the menstrual health category is the number one growing sector because of and how do you see yourself? Of course your product is unique, but like there are already established player in the market, they have a major market share. In terms of business, how do you see that yourself as competing with those people, and what are the challenges you have faced as an entrepreneur? Because I think as I said, the menstrual health category is so crowded, not just in India. I guess it's worldwide. Like this, so
Everywhere. Yeah.
everywhere, right? Yeah.
Crowded
Do you
market,
feel that
yeah.
you're in difficult space to really trying to compete and bring in something which is really new and unique, but also at the same time to try to validate your product, right?
So I think there is room for there's room. I don't think, yes, it is crowded, but the market
Yeah,
is so big.
it
It's a
is.
ginormous market, and I think people forget that a lot. Yeah, you see a lot of players, but it's such a big market that for a while at least there's going to be space for everyone.
Yeah,
And this is going to be a problem for a different day. But right now, I don't think this is a very big problem. I think it's a good thing that we see so much competition, for lack of a better word, because it means that people care about this. People
Right.
want better solutions, and it's a good place to be. I would never want to be in a position where there are no competitors, meaning I have to do all the heavy lifting of convincing the user ki kar lo use mera product. Like, people are already looking, and it's great. I think the honest answer is we have not realized what challenges we will face. We are that small. So maybe, I mean, people, I don't even think somebody like a Nua or Karmezi cares. We're just like some people doing something on the side, and it's okay.
Right.
We have to start somewhere. But challenges, like, in all seriousness, products like this have a brand loyalty.
Right.
You want to use something because your sister or your best friend told you, and it really works for you, and you don't want to move as quickly, which is great because obviously it works for you. But and that brand loyalty works both ways, because once people actually try it, they may become loyal to something new that they like. So we will learn, basically.
But do you feel that like you also have to educate your users, like how are you different? I think.
Oh yeah, so the way to do that is, the only way to really differentiate is try us to believe us, right? You're not going to believe us. Like, no matter what I say is very difficult to convince someone, but try it
Right.
out. And so right now, and I think this we are going to have always, our first box is always going to be free, no commitments. Try it out and tell us what you think.
So, what are your future plans?
So with Papaya, like right now, obviously, like, I like to think of Papaya as a materials engineering company. And pads are our first product. There's
Right.
a lot of stuff to do, and obviously female health is very close to personally to me, and I think we are going to be very focused on female health. But pads are just the beginning, and there's a bunch of cool things we have in mind that we want to work on, and you will have to wait and find out.
I'm excited. I'm excited. Really nice catching up, and I can't wait to meet you in person when you come to
Yes.
India in November.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for having me, and it's been wonderful chatting.
Same here. Thanks a lot.